What's up, everybody? What's up? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Y'all know what today is. Today is Love Thursdays. That's right, guys. It's my favorite day of the week. Love Thursdays. Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat right there. Come on in, guys. Thank you guys very, very much for selecting and watching my content. Yes, and today's Love Thursdays topic is going to be love music and how it affects us all. Love music and how it affects us all in our day-to-day life. You know, guys, when I was growing up in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, it had a big impact on not only just the black community, but just all communities just in general. You know, love music was a big thing back then, especially in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It helped you got through your day. I would see adults get all stressed out Monday through Thursday, but when Friday come around with that sweet love music, boy, let me tell you, it brought back memories of when relationships were there. It reminded men and women why they got together in the first place, right? And that's what's changed a lot in today's world because it was just a lot simpler back then. Listen, guys, gone are the days, unfortunately, when a woman just wants to be with you. Gone are the days when, you know, the guy just wants to be with you and he wants to build a family with you, especially in this Western society. Everybody's afraid due to misguided information through the social media, unfortunately. And everybody got their take on what hypergamy means. Well, let me explain what exactly the biblical term of hypergamy means. And if I'm wrong, please somebody correct me, okay? Back in the days, okay, guys, and you can even go, you don't have to go way back to the biblical days. You can actually go back to about 100 years ago, or maybe to 150, 200 years ago, right? If you, back in the days, what usually happens was the woman just wanted to make sure that you have security as far as while she birthed the children and take care of the children and so forth, that you have the cattle and the land and the means and the soil to make sure that the family will be fed and taken care of. That you were able to hunt back in the days. That's all that meant. Greed had nothing to do with it. Getting a Bentley, all this lavish money, clothing, going out to eat, which is not good for you every day. All of these Bentleys and Ferraris and stuff, that's just bullshit. I'm going to just put that on the line. That's bullshit. That's not hypergamy. Hypergamy means that a female is making sure that not only is she taken care of with money, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm not editing none of this. With food, it was a survival thing back then. Making sure that her offspring is taken care of as well. Okay? Having food, clothes, the basic necessities. Money had nothing to do with it, all right? And that's not what hypergamy means. It doesn't mean greed, being 6'5", $1 million in the bank, all this other foolishness. No, that's not what it means, okay? Now back on the topic. So with love songs and love music back in the days, like I said, that was a thing. I would see grown adults and grown teenagers in the late 70s. Everybody lived for the weekends, guys. They had songs like Thank God It's Friday. Most of the songs, especially the disco songs, was all about that weekend for that Friday night. Saturday night, living up, oh yeah, Friday night, all of these great love songs, and then people used to dress up too to go to the discos and stuff. And like I said, I was a little kid, guys. I was like 7, 8 years old, But I remember the excitement and seeing it in these grown young adults and teenagers' life, you know. Like I said, I was only 7 years old watching this, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And it was exciting. Also, love music, and the music industry and music itself had a big impact on the generations. And now stay with me now, okay? And I'm going to make a point, and I'm going to prove what I'm saying is correct. Today's genre music is about ratchetness. We don't even really have love anymore unless it's perverted to the extreme. I forced myself to listen to today's music, and it's all trash. I say about 98, 96% of it is trash. The only person, in my opinion, that's really bringing back the really good music is Bruno Mars and a few other people. Maybe your Ushers and so forth. I like Usher. He's a good dude. I like his songs. Maybe your Anthony Hamiltons and a couple of other people. But the rest of it is trash. Women are calling themselves out their names these days. You got a lot of masculine women on the microphone. All these women are over sexualized. The shock value is gone, guys. Okay, there's no more out shocking each other, and then you have it's just, you know, it's like people fighting with each other on social media, and it's going to their so-called music, which I call trash. You know, you got rappers killing each other. I mean, it's to the point now where these young guys are shooting each other like 3 or 4 times a day, and then their dumb asses is posting it on social media like Facebook and stuff. Oh yeah, be a dumbass and get caught by the feds. They're not the most brilliant people in the world. Where there's a camera everywhere, and that's what happened with the guy with the XX testosterone, whatever, 3 or 4 years ago. These dumbass kids just don't realize you don't shoot people in public in the broad daylight where cameras are. You're just asking to go to jail and being somebody's little female in prison, dumbass. And I apologize, guys. It's just that we need to get back to the basics of music. We need to get back to the basics of music. Now, there's nothing wrong with having different genre of music. Do I like rap? Sure I do. I remember back in the days, in the 80s, because I come from the genesis of rap, okay? Okay, I come from the Kurtis Blow all the way up to the LL Cool J, because I'm the same age as LL Cool J. All the way up to when the real gangsters was describing a situation that was going on in the streets. It wasn't like these kids today, the studio gangsters, and you know, they trying to live that life. No, these guys was describing a situation. And when rap first came out, it was an expression, and it was on a positive note until the evil music industry came in and perverted it. And these people allowed it to be perverted. But anyway, in the late 80s, early 90s, you had different genres of rap. You had dance rap. You had rappers who specifically did politics, fight the power, and all that kind of stuff. You had booty shaking rappers, and you had the hardcore thugs rappers like NWA and all those type of dudes. I was into the dance and booty shaking type of deal because all that other stuff, you know, it just wasn't me. It just wasn't for me. Then the genre moved from the mid-90s where the music industry wanted to mix rap into the songs. I would say the early 90s, even with one of Michael Jackson's songs, Black or White, they had to put a little corny rap in there, in my opinion. You know, it was just, you know, from 91, 92 on up, you had, on to 99, I think, you had to put a little rap in the prelude of the song. So if you had a pop song back then, you had to put a little prelude rap in there, which I thought was stupid and dumb, but it's whatever. You know, as a consumer, as a CD buyer in my 20s back then. You know, I like it better when Teddy Riley had his little prelude and he would play his little keyboard as a prelude, the instrumental. I like that better. Or people was singing through the prelude, you know, or the hook, I should say. They were either playing music or people were singing and they was playing the hook. I preferred that better because the raps were corny anyway. Most of them was. Now some of them was good. When Usher did Yeah, that was a hit. And he had Ludacris in there. That was pretty good. That was a good collaboration when he did Yeah. When Usher did Yeah with Ludacris, that was a good collab. I will give it to them. That was a good collaboration. But most of it was not. My days of liking rap was my favorite time was actually in the early 2000s up to 2005, even with the pop R&B music all the way up to then because it was a balance of everything. You had Black Eyed Peas, you had Mary J. Blige was really in there. You had a lot of good R&B singers, and Usher had that song called "Let It Burn." All of that kind of good music back then. Even in the 90s, when I was in my early 20s, guys, they had this song called "Baby, Just Won't You Just Stay." You know, it was just all a balance. People used to tell stories in their music. Jodeci was telling a story with that song, "Baby, Won't You Just Stay." You know, when he explained at the beginning. Remember when I told you I want you to leave? I lied. I want you to stay with me. And then he was expressing how he felt about her throughout the whole song. And what's missing today out of so-called love music is people taking love out. People have taken love out. And I'm going to tell you something, guys, and I want you guys to listen to me, and this is my saying, my personal saying. Anytime you take love out of music or any situation throughout life, not just music, but any situation out of life, you have chaos. I want you to listen to me again for the people in the back, especially for the slow people way in the back. Anytime you take love away from a situation, including music, you have chaos. And that's what we have today, guys. The reason why the music industry and music is suffering so much today is love has been abandoned. Real love. I remember there was a time when a man could tell a woman how he felt about her. We had Donny Hathaway. For you guys who old school guys, when I was a kid, who died when I was 10 years old in 1979. We had Donny Hathaway. We had all these good guys. We had Teddy Pendergrass, you know, all these Marvin Gaye, all these guys, all the way even up to Jodeci. It was nothing for a man to tell a woman how he felt about her. New Edition, New Kids on the Block. I don't care if you were black or white. The rock groups, Journey. We had all these good singers, guys. And when these love songs came, like I said, it didn't damn matter if you was a white group or a black group. When the music sounded goddamn good, it was good. You had Journey, man. You had, oh my God, where do I even start? Sheriff, When I'm With You, and, you know, Gino Valentini, and, you know, you had Troop. Of course, you had Michael Jackson, and even Prince. With, you know, he was the shock value with his style of music, but even he had love songs, you know. Hell, I was a Prince lookalike back in the days. You had the DeBarge. You had all these Lakeside, you know, all of these great singing R&B and pop groups, guys. One of the groups, they had a girl singing group it was a black women singing group. Can't think of the name of them right now, guys. You gotta forgive me. They had this song called I Miss You. It was a great R&B song, let me tell you. When they played the instruments, brothers, when you heard that song, I Miss You, Climax, that's it, Climax. Man, you know, it just was a different time that I wish you guys would have been there. You know, I wish you'd have been a teenager in the 80s, at least the late 80s, early 90s, because the mindset was different back then. Did we have the internet? No, we didn't. But in my opinion, the talent was better than it is now. Because all you're doing now is paying $100 to $200 to see some fool jump around on the stage and like Steve Harvey said. I ain't paying no money for no foolishness like that. Back then, you paid $20, $15 to $20. You had a full production and talent. That's when MTV used to be MTV. Hell, I can remember when MTV first came out in 1981. When I was like 11, 12 years old. At first it was BET and then it was MTV. And they had video jockeys, and back then they was getting funding. Because BET came on for 6 hours. Yeah. And then MTV was 4 or 5 hours. And they had poor reception. It was originally Rock TV. So they needed funding for programming. Then when they had to go to the UK to get Wham and a lot of, which is George Michael, and a lot of other people, Level 42, all these different groups from England and Britain and all these different kinds of places. And then in 1982, it became 24 hours. Both of them have. They were the first 24-hour rock show, and then they had Rick James featured on there because they was protesting because it was rock only, but it was a pop rock. And then they was protesting, and the first black people that was on there was Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, and then they had Rick James, I think, was on there, and a couple of other black groups like with Lionel Richie and so forth. And then it just, by 1983, it just became the Mesh. Excuse me. Hold 1 second, guys. Yes. Yeah. So, sorry about that. So yes, guys, I'm just giving you guys just a little bit about how love music affects us all, right? Love music is vital to our relationships today and how we relate to each other. Very critical, very, very important. Because without love, you got chaos. Let's take the day out and listen to some old school music, and let's reflect with one another. Next week, I got another surprise Love Thursday that's kind of not controversial in my opinion, but I'm just going to open up more about myself and how I grew up with the females in my life. All right? So I can't wait to express the true Tim inside of me and how I feel about relationships with the ladies. But until then, thank you guys for joining me on Love Thursdays. I really appreciate you guys chiming in. And if this is the channel for you, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button and that notification button. That way you know when new content is being presented to you. Also share with like-minded people like yourselves, okay? All right, so with that being said, not only am I Tim, but I'm Tim's On Demand. All right, go ahead and let yourself, guys, go ahead and let yourself out. Thank you for joining me. Pull that door too. Go ahead and let yourself out. Don't let them bugs and critters and flies come on in, all right? And you have a happy Thursday. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right. Thank you.